Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting of the Sterling Heights City Council to order. Please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Dear God, please bless our elected officials. Grant them courage and wisdom to do what is right for all citizens. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Ms. Riska. Can we please have the roll call?
Mayor Taylor?
Here.
Mrs. Sarowski?
Here.
Mrs. Koski?
Present.
Mr. Radke?
Present.
Mrs. Schmidt?
Present.
Mr. Yanas?
Here.
Present.
Council, we need approval of the agenda.
Mr. Mayor,
Mrs. Koski.
move to approve the agenda.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any discussion? No discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. First item on our agenda tonight, as always, is a report from our city manager, Mark Vanderpool. Mr. Vanderpool.
Thank you, Mayor. And as always, I have a number of special presentations under my report this evening. Let me begin by reminding everyone that you can set out your Christmas trees to be recycled, and you can do that through February 3rd. And this recycling program creates composting from the trees, and they do not go into the landfill. After February 3rd, I wouldn't imagine many people have them left after February 3rd, but unfortunately, then they go into the landfill. So if you have trees, set them out, and they get chipped, and they'll be recycled. Also, in recognition of Martin Luther King Jr. Day, city offices will be closed on Monday, January 16th. So please take note of that date. That's January 16th. The first presentation I have tonight, I'm really pleased to introduce our Police Chief Dale Wojciechowski, who's going to lead off this important presentation showcasing our canine dog.
Thank you, Mr. Vanderpool, Mayor Taylor, members of council. What a great night. Another brand-new canine unit is entering the service of Sterling Heights. We have a special presentation, and we're going to introduce Officer Sribniak, our new canine Dusty, and we have a special guest with us today. I'm so privileged and honored she was able to join us. Our newest canine is named Dusty after John Dusty Markham, a U.S. Navy SEAL who died at 34 years old in Afghanistan. He's from Flushing, Michigan. Senior Chief Petty Officer Navy SEAL John Markham, or his friends called him Dusty, was killed September 12, 2008 during a firefight with heavily armed militants in Afghanistan. His unit had been forward deployed to conduct combat operations in support of Operation Enduring Freedom. He was assigned to an East Coast-based SEAL team. Markham had taken part in 12 missions overseas and earned 2 Silver Stars, 4 Bronze Stars with Valor, and a Purple Heart during his 11 years of service. In a bizarre twist, another Navy SEAL from Armada, Michigan, Jason Freewald, 30 years old, was also killed during the same battle. If the name John Markham sounds familiar to some who travel I-75 heading north, it's because I-75 in Genesee County has been renamed the John Wayne Dusty Markham Memorial Highway. I cannot think of a more fitting name for our newest canine unit that will serve, protect, and watch over the families here in Sterling Heights. If you've ever watched a police canine in action, they are truly the happiest when they are working and serving. And from everything I've read, the same could be said about John's life. We're so happy that John's sister, Kaylee, is with us tonight. She made the trip over here to Sterling Heights. She was aware that we were naming the dog after her brother, and she wanted to be part of this ceremony, and I want to turn the microphone over to her and say thank you so much for allowing us to name our dog after Dusty.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me, and thank you for this honor. It's okay. Thank you.
Even after all these years, yeah, it's tough. And to know, again, like you said, when you see that dog in action, if anyone's seen a police canine in action, they are truly the happiest when they are finding a bad guy on a scent, on a track, all for a stupid rubber ball. That's all they want. So we are so happy, and every time we have Dusty out there, please look for the press releases when Dusty catches a bad guy. So we're honored that you were able to be here tonight and be part of this. And with that, I want to bring up our new canine officer. Jim, come on up here. This is Dusty, ladies and gentlemen. Officer Jim Shribniak is our newest K-9 officer, and he has Dusty, and we have a short video here of his actual swearing in, which was December 8th. And if we can play that video now, and we can see his swearing in. Okay, so Jim, you ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay, you sure?
I'm sure.
All right, so I got the official oath for you and Dusty here. So I officially recognize and duly appoint K-9 Dusty and his partner, Officer James Shribniak, as newly sworn partners that will serve the city of Sterling Heights and the K-9 unit. K-9 Dusty, if you agree with your new position, please confirm by stating your name.
Dusty.
Okay, very good. That's a great job. K-9 Dusty, please place your paw on the K-9 Training Encyclopedia and take the official oath of office to make it official. You ready, K-9 Dusty? So we're gonna have to see if you can do this without biting me. We're gonna need one paw right down here. If you just put your paw right here, can you put your paw in there? There you go. And repeat after me that you promise to take care of the residents of Sterling Heights and not bite anybody unless they're a bad guy. Okay, your silence is a confirmation, and I accept it. Congratulations, K-9 Dusty. Awesome job. There you go. Congratulations. Thank you so much. Jim, would you like to say a few words about your appointment?
You know, thank you for the opportunity. The K-9 unit is a very special unit,
Hi, Dust.
and I couldn't ask for a better partner. You know, I was trained by Darren and Jeremy, great handlers, and I can't wait, you know, for my career and just protect and serve the citizens of Sterling Heights. You know, it's a great opportunity, and the Sterling Heights Police Department's a great family, and he's going to be along for a good career. So, I'm excited.
Stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. If I could have the other K-9 units all come on in. We brought everyone out for you guys. You don't have to see him very often, so, and he gets quite loud. So with that, I'd like to thank all of our K-9 officers. We have Officer Kruger with Rich here in the front, Officer Brothen with Groot, and Officer Walleman with Ernie, and we have Officer Steele with Ivy. I would like to acknowledge Officer Steele is going to be retiring here in a few months, so Ivy will be retired as well, and as you know, Ivy retires with Officer Steele. We thank Officer Steele for his years and years of service. As you know, Officer Rich Hines was a kind of a master instructor for the state, for the area. Darren Steele took over those job responsibilities, and for many years kind of ran this K-9 unit. We're one of the best in the state because of Darren, his efforts, his energy, so we're going to miss you, Darren. Thank you so much for everything you've done for us. Officer Wallman is going to be taking over as the trainer after Darren's retirement here. So I thank everybody for their service and all of our K-9s tonight. And I'd like to thank Kaylee Markham again for attending and being part of this service and ceremony. And with that, Council, I'll turn it back to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chief. And Mayor, moving on to...
Whoa.
Nice try.
If you guys want to, wherever you feel comfortable, but I'm
go too
certain
far.
there are some members of the city council that would like to make some comments. So I will open it up to anyone, Mrs. Sarowski.
Thank you. I'll take the first, make the first comments. So, officers, first I want to start with the officers of all of our K-9 units. So thank you for bringing your partners with you, and thank you for keeping us safe. Darren, we will miss you. Thank you for everything that you've done for the city. You have been exemplary and set the bar really high for the rest of the officers, as I know, and we will miss you tremendously. Group, behave. That one's a crazy one. He's been fed way too much at Pashko's. And we really do welcome our new one, Dusty. He's a beautiful, beautiful German, and he is German Shepherd, correct? Or is he Malinois? Or Malinois? Malinois? Okay. It's hard to tell sometimes. I'm a grandmother to a now deceased Belgian Malinois, but he was a beautiful dog too, and he was military. So I do miss him as well. And on that note, Kaylee, thank you very much for coming. I'm a military wife of a retired officer, and then my son's in the Marines, and I know that fear, that pride, and what that is. And I honor your brother. And I did know his cohort in crime that did pass as well, so free well. And so I'm going to just say thank you, and he will never be forgotten. And now he's got the dog with probably the biggest tongue I've seen in a while. Lord. So thank you all for being here, and stay safe out there, officers, as well. Thank you, that's all.
Mrs. Koski?
Thank you, Mayor Taylor. I also am very proud of our Canine Division. I think, Darren, you have done a fantastic job. And every one of the dogs, in my opinion, are champions. They're number one. I'd like to say welcome to Dusty and Chief. You know, this is a very diverse community. With Ivy retiring, Ivy was our female representative on the canine squad, which means that you're going to have to find us one additional female canine.
We need the
That is your
token
job.
female.
Kate,
I'm very
is it too late
pleased.
to add that to your presentation?
Thank you. Great job.
Thank you, Mrs. Koski. Anyone else? If not, Chief, good job tonight. Appreciate it, and appreciate your leadership in the police department. And to the officers here, thank you for your service. To the K-9 officers, we appreciate it. You know, I probably don't hear, we hear a lot about our wonderful police department and the work that they do, but probably not very often do the folks out on the streets and in the city understand the work that these K-9 officers are doing. It's very, very important. Work that keeps our police department safe and work that keeps our community safe. So, look, I know I've got a dog myself, and he doesn't like to be sitting around in a city council meeting. So I will just say one final thing to Ms. Markham. I can't see over the chief's shoulder, but thank you for being here. Thank you for your comments, brief as they were heartfelt, and what you didn't say spoke volumes. And you didn't need to say anything. Your presence here means a lot to us. It means a lot to me personally. This could not be easy for you, but I want to tell you that we're really proud to have a K-9 officer carrying on your brother's legacy. Our officers and everyone that works for the city is going to know that and know the meaning behind it and try to live up to his legacy. So thank you for being here. With that, Chief, dismissed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
One
you.
more big round of applause. Mrs. Koski.
Chief,
One more thing.
one last request. Could you take a photograph of all the canines here tonight?
That's what we're doing.
Okay.
For council?
Yes, absolutely. You'll get a digital copy sent to you.
Thank you very much.
I think Mrs. Koski wants hers framed, Chief.
With stars on it.
All right, Mr. Vanderpool.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. I should have made that the last item on my report because it's hard to carry on now. But in any case, speaking of diversity and the need to have more female canine units, our community really is a very diverse community. As many of you know, over the last 20 or so years, it's changed dramatically. Our foreign-born population is over 25% now. And the city council has worked really hard over the years to champion that diversity because for a number of reasons, it creates a more inclusive community. It creates a more vibrant community in terms of culturalism and entrepreneurialism. And that's one of the reasons why we have such a vibrant community is because of our diversity. The city council's created the Ethnic Advisory Commission, the Community Alliance, and also the African American Coalition. So that's all reflective of our need to continue to champion diversity. And we're doing the best we can with our organization as well to make sure that all of our employees represent the community that we serve. And that's especially important as we recruit new employees and so on. So tonight you're going to hear from our Human Relations and Benefits Manager, Kate Baldwin, and providing an update on our progress with our diversity, equity, and inclusion strategic plan, where we're at, and what are some of the next steps moving forward. So, Mayor, I'm pleased to introduce Ms. Baldwin at this time.
Good evening, Mayor Taylor, members of the City Council, Mr. Koszywski, and Mr. Vanderpool. I'm here tonight to provide you with an update on our diversity, equity, and inclusion journey. As you know, we embarked on our journey in late 2021 and have accomplished quite a bit in 2022. As we enter into a new year, we have much to look forward to, some of which will require the ongoing commitment and support from our very own DE&I Employee Council, DE&I Advisory Board, administrators, and each of you. The vision of our DE&I journey is to develop a long-term, sustainable diversity, equity, and inclusion plan to align with the city's 2030 visioning plan. While we've accomplished quite a bit throughout our DE&I journey, much of which we'll touch on later in the presentation, one of the more noteworthy items includes the development of the city's first ever DEI strategy plan. The strategic plan was developed from our very own DE&I Employee Council through analyzing various reporting, providing input, and hours of dedication and hard work. In September, our DE&I Employee Council met for a 2.5-day workshop to create the framework of our DEI strategy. I want to provide you with an overview of that strategy tonight. The DEI strategy's long-term goals and overall focus will entail visible leadership commitment, retaining top talent, providing continuous learning both with our employees and our community, recruiting a skilled and diverse workforce, fostering a fair and equitable workplace, engaging diverse perspectives and cultural experiences both internally and externally, being responsive to social demands, and building new partnerships. Now, this strategy is made up through 3 different work streams. The first work stream is workforce or employee engagement. This work stream is to create common experiences in employee engagement while taking a look internally to analyze and improve our processes and practices across the entire organization. The second work stream is culture, or workplace, in which creates values, organizational policies, practices, and accepted behaviors that are encouraged and practiced by the majority. The third work stream is external engagement, in which will support the common expectations of the community and to create branding to attract community members, businesses, employee talent, all with effective communication to further engage our community and businesses. So how do we see through each of these work streams and what's entailed? Each work stream, as depicted in the slide, I know it's kind of hard to read and I'm not going to belabor it, but each work stream has specific milestones, and those milestones are listed under each of those work streams. And each milestone will entail many tasks, dedicated time, resources, input, and much more from many individuals within the organization. So as I said, I won't belabor it. I'm not going to go through each of these milestones. However, I'll just point out the first one in the first column, and it reads, create a sense of belonging by better understanding the workplace experiences for underrepresented groups. So as you can imagine, when you look at that one milestone, that milestone alone will entail a lot of tasks, time, coordination, resources, and the list goes on. Now, this slide is a very high-level overview of the entire framework of our DEI strategy. We sort of just kind of dwindled it down here to one slide. But by accomplishing each of these milestones set forth, we will meet our long-term goals, we will be able to see through our DEI strategy, but more importantly, we'll be able to continue our DEI efforts forevermore. So let's discuss some next steps. Now that we have the framework of our DEI strategy with those defined work streams and the defined milestones, now more than ever, to carry through our strategy, it is critical that we have a DEI leader to help us achieve our goals. Having a DEI leader who is an expert in the space of DE&I can help lead the organization through a DEI lens and provide us the guidance and support needed as we deliver and carry out our strategy. Also, having a DEI leader embedded within the organization will not only help us see through that the milestones are accomplished and the goals are met, but will lead us in a way in which we can further engage with the community, stakeholders, and employees in a meaningful cultural change direction. Now let's hear from some of the members of our DE&I Employee Council who will share some additional insight, what we've accomplished this far along our journey, and more of what's to come.
Hi, I'm Marissa Russo, a member of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Employee Council. Our DEI journey is still on track to reach our destination of a city that is inclusive to all. We embarked on this initiative a year and a half ago and have since completed phase 1 and 2 that consisted of analytics of our organization, employee focus groups, and the framework of our 3-year DEI strategy. We continue in our expedition to phase 3 and ask you to join us as we begin to carry out our DEI strategy and learning development plan.
I want to see the city of Sterling Heights employees represent the diversity of the city's residents.
I think it also allows for future people to also feel comfortable and inclusive within the city as in moving to the city or even being employed with the city. I think it's so important for us to have people from different walks of life, specifically people that are underrepresented in our city as a whole, because it just provides a different outlook and experience on situations that we would have never ever thought of. I think a lot of people are really busy with their day-to-day lives and don't see the things that affect other people, and I think us almost putting a bright light on it and showing that, hey, these people are underrepresented, even if you never noticed them in the past.
I think it's unique to the city of Sterling Heights because it's a city that is diverse, but is not necessarily represented within the city as an organization. The city as an organization tends to be more homogenous. So what we can do is sort of push to have more of a diverse workforce within the city, but also to have it represent what the city actually is in its sense of diversity.
The City of Sterling Heights continues to build a culture of inclusion and belonging through the DEI Employee Council. The council is represented by employees in various departments who also represent people from every corner of our very own city. Each member is committed in this journey, bringing a unique perspective and constructive feedback. The council's goal is to help meet the recommendations of the city employees and the communities we serve, building upon the city's existing strengths and weaknesses that will encourage diversity, equity, and inclusion across our organization.
I really thought it was important for somebody like me, a Muslim female, to have representation within the city. It allowed me to feel included in the decision makings of certain policies that I think would affect me as well as any other employee. I also think it was a stepping stone for people to see, a person of my ethnicity represented as a city employee.
I'm someone who wants to see the diversity of Sterling Heights be represented by the city's employees. And so I think that the DEI Employee Council is something that can make actionable change to have that happen, and to also have all of the employees have their voices heard.
Through an extensive 2-day workshop, the DEI Employee Council gathered at our very own community center to brainstorm and ultimately build a strategic plan to help guide the DEI journey successfully throughout our community.
And that is building a sense of culture, a sense of awareness of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And then I also know that we will have training for employees. What cultural competencies should we see having trainings on bias? How do we recognize bias within ourselves? How do we deal with that? How do we have conversations? And then we'll also have employee resource groups that allow us to come together and continue to discuss goals around diversity and equity and how we can organize to reach those goals together.
I think it's going to provide an environment for people to feel included in the day-to-day, city life. As an employee, as a resident, as a business, people will see that they have opportunities here that they wouldn't have in other cities that are not taking these initiatives.
All right, and to wrap up, as mentioned in the video, the employee learning development plans or the employee training will begin in the next couple of months. And we expect this to be completed by the end of this fiscal, and you all will be invited to participate in that. Beyond the employee learning development plans, we will continue to have much to accomplish through those defined milestones that were on that slide. We are actively working on a formal strategic plan report to disseminate both internally and externally. Once we have that, we'll be sure to push that out. But I do want to take this opportunity to thank our DE&I Employee Council for all of their time and efforts throughout this journey and for their hard work and dedication to the development of our DEI strategic plan. And also a thank you to our DE&I Advisory Board, administrators within the organization, and more importantly to each of you for your ongoing support throughout this. I look forward to providing further updates, and this concludes my presentation.
And Mayor, I just also wanted to thank the DE&I Employee Council. The beauty of this plan is that it has been developed and will be implemented by this employee base. So that's why it's going to succeed long-term. And the plan will never be done. This is something that we'll be always working off of. It'll have to be updated periodically. But the difficulty, the real challenge will be implementing the strategic plan forevermore. And that's why the employee leader is so important. We're going to be hearing much more about that in the forthcoming budget. And lastly, on my report this evening, I'm really pleased to introduce our Arts Commission Chair, Jeannie Shabath Lewis, who's going to talk about all the good work going on with our Arts Commission. As you know, we've been highlighting all of our boards and commissions over the past year. We're near the end here. We're saving the best for last, and we're going to hear all the good work going on with the Arts Commission. Thank you.
Well, Happy New Year and good evening, Mayor Taylor, members of City Council, Mr. Vanderpool, and Mr. Kosufsky. Again, my name is Jeannie Shabath Lewis, and I'm the current chair of the Sterling Heights Art Commission. I've been on the commission for 10 years and been the chair of it for the last 6 and got re-elected tonight. I'd like to also acknowledge 2 of my members, Wendy Popko, who's my vice chair, and Lisa Stout, who's a newly appointed commissioner to the commission. The Art Commission considers, studies, and recommends citywide cultural programs while promoting public art. Cultural enhances our quality of life, increases overall well-being for individuals and communities. Events and programs sponsored by the 12 members of the Art Commission are developed in accordance with the goals and objectives set by City Council and administration. Some examples of these events and programs are highlighted in tonight's presentation. The Art Commission proudly sponsors the Memorial Day ceremony and parade. The Memorial Day is a day to honor those currently serving in our military and those who gave up their lives to fight for our freedom. The Art Commission members select the Grand Marshal and award prizes each year for the best band and best float. The Art Commission, in conjunction with City's Community Relations Department, juries the artists for Sterling Fest Art and Music Festival. Starting this April, the commission members will begin jurying the artists for the fair. Upon awarding them at the fair the best of the best, with giving them a free booth in next year's festival. The members of the Art Commission, in addition, does support the entire Sterling Fest Fair by working those booths, helping the different artists so they can do things other to leave their booths. Our longest running program is the Featured Artist Program. Local artists apply and are chosen to professionally display their art for 2 months in a large showcase in the community center on the 2nd floor. The feature artist is interviewed by city, SHCTV staff, as well as the local paper, giving them a little publicity and a chance to share their creatives with others, and also gives a promotion to the program out there. Our most recent project in 2022, in conjunction with the City Sustainability Commission, is the Storm Drain Project, in an effort to discourage residents from dumping waste in the storm drains. Stencils are being painted next to the storm drains throughout the neighborhoods. The Art Commission had a contest open to high school artists who were asked to submit original designs for the stencils. 2 designs were chosen and are being installed by volunteers over the next few years. Residents can go and check these out in the community relations. I think there's 4 different kits, and it does take an army to get this project done, because there's it was an astronomical number of drains that are in our city, so would love to see you guys all help out. Art Commission continues to promote public art throughout the city. Members work with the Community Relations Department whenever possible, often referring artists to install murals, sculptures, and smaller projects such as the rock gardens. As chairman of the Art Commission, I promote all mediums of public art on our Art Rocks Facebook page. The Art Rocks page is open to artists, residents of all ages that would like to share their art and creativity throughout the city. It was a small project that we started in 2016, and it's taken its own recourse, where we're sitting there posting on different things that are going on in the city for art, as well as the local communities around here. So it's a really great medium for artists to really find out what's going there, as well as the residents. But the last thing we would like to talk about is something that's been 3 years in the making. This project got put on hold due to COVID. I'm so excited that this is finally being done. So we have commissioned to install a large mosaic tile mural in the community center. What's great about this project is that it is a community, the residents of the community will have the opportunity to contribute to it. We have commissioned artists who will be hosting creative sessions throughout February and March to take place at the library, senior center, and community center. More details will be coming out on social media outlets so stay tuned. We hope that you guys will also be participating at that. Thank you. Any questions?
Council, any questions?
Have a good night.
Thank you very much. Mr. Beth Lewis.
And Mayor, as you can see, our boards and commissions do great work. I know you and the city council take great pride in appointing members to all of our boards and commissions, and the results speak for themselves. We enjoy great quality of life in large part because of their good work. And just one last statement at the conclusion of tonight's agenda. I'm requesting that the city council convene a closed session pursuant to Section 8E of the Open Meetings Act for council to consult with the city attorney regarding a confidential written legal opinion, and that concludes my report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Vanderpool, and thank you to Ms. Beth Lewis, to Chief Wojciechowski, and to Ms. Baldwin for the presentations tonight. Very good, informative, so we appreciate that. Next on our agenda tonight is an ordinance adoption. This is to adopt the First Amendment to the Appropriations Ordinance for the 2022-2023 fiscal year. Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to speak on this item? If not, council, we need a motion.
Mayor Taylor,
Mrs. Schmidt.
resolved to adopt the first amendments to the appropriation ordinance for the 2022-23 fiscal year.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any discussion, Mrs. Schmidt?
Mayor Taylor, just a brief word. I think Ms. Varney explained everything. Just happy to say that we're putting more in the bank than we thought, so it's always a good thing. That's it.
Okay, council, anyone else? I did make comments at the last meeting, and I forgot that it was the Christmas and New Year's holiday, and people were not necessarily going to be motivated to go put together that list, not throwing anybody under the bus. When I say people, I mean myself. So we will, I will get the information from Mr. Garapi about the CERT and COPS communication devices sometime soon. And, but don't have it tonight. So with that, no further discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next item on our agenda is another ordinance adoption, and this is to consider adoption of a map amendment to zoning ordinance number 278 to conditionally rezone property situated on the west side of Ryan Road, south of 15 Mile Road, in Section 31 from O1 Business and Professional Office District to RM3 Multiple Family Mid and High Rise District, case number PZ 22-0005. Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to speak on this item? Council, we need a motion.
Mayor Taylor,
Mrs. Zarko.
resolve to adopt the map amendment to zoning ordinance number 278 to conditionally rezone property situated on the west side of Bryan Road, south of 15 Mile in Section 31 from O1 Business and Professional Office District to RM3 Multiple Family Mid and High Rise District, case PZ 22-0005, subject to the terms and conditions of the conditional rezoning agreement that the mayor and the city clerk are authorized to sign on behalf of the city.
Support. It's been moved and supported. Any discussion, Mrs. Zarko?
You know what, this was explained to us at the last meeting thoroughly. We didn't have any residents that came out in opposition to this particular rezoning, so, and it looked like a great project. We wish you luck, and I have nothing further to say.
Thank you, Mrs. Zarko. Council, anyone else? With no further discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Thank you for being here. Thank you very much. Mr. Ruggieri, good luck. Happy New Year. Next item on our agenda is the consent agenda. Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to speak on any item on tonight's consent agenda? If not, council, we need a motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Mrs. Koski.
move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
It's been moved and supported with no discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next up on our agenda tonight is a consideration item, and this is to consider a request to transfer ownership of a 2022 Class C liquor license, SDM liquor license, and dance entertainment permit from Hillside Productions Incorporated to FH Event Center Incorporated. Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to speak on this item?
Mr. Mayor, members of council, I'm Kelly Allen. I'm appearing tonight on behalf of FH Events. Mr. Chalani, if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Okay, thank you very much. If we have questions, we'll ask during deliberations. Anyone else in the audience on this item? If not, council, we need a motion.
Mayor Taylor,
Mrs. Sarowski.
resolve that the request to transfer ownership of a 2022 Class C liquor license, SDM liquor license, and dance entertainment permit from Hillside Productions Incorporated to FH Event Center Incorporated be considered for approval.
Support. It's been moved and supported. Any discussion?
Actually,
Mrs. Sarowski.
thank you very much. No, I do not have too much of question in the sense that this is the banquet center, formerly Independence Hall, that we're now transferring to Tom Chalani. And I'm fairly familiar with this, so I do not have any questions at this time. Thank you very much, Mayor Taylor.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Sarowski. Mr. Radke.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just very briefly, for the people at home, all this is a transfer between entities owned by the same person. He's transferring it from one entity he owns to the other, so there's not new ownership, there's nothing going to change. I think this is just pretty rote legal stuff. All I have, Mr. Mayor.
Good for the lawyers.
Someone's going to make money.
Yes. Anyone else? Mrs. Zarko.
I have no questions about the liquor license transfer, but I know in the backup information, there was, Mr. Chalani has a foundation. And if you could get us some more information on that foundation, I would really appreciate it. It's just that what the foundation does and who it supports, that's the only request that I would have. Thank you.
Okay. Council, anyone else? No further discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item on our agenda tonight is to consider appointments to the City of Sterling Heights boards and commissions. Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to speak on this item? If not, all right, council, we have 1, 2, 3, I believe, with 4 total vacancies. The first is the General Employees Retirement System Board. This is a city council appointment. They changed the whole.
It was a nomination.
Keep going down.
Yeah.
It's an appointment
This
this
is
time.
right, this is an appointment. The nomination at the last meeting was John Lamorato. Is there anyone who'd like to make that appointment tonight?
Mayor Taylor?
Mrs. Zarko, I think you.
Resolve to appoint John Lamarato to the General Employees Retirement System to a term ending June 30th. I don't have the date.
2025.
2025, subject to the appointee meeting the qualifications set forth in Charter 4.03 and taking the oath of office within 2 weeks.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next is the Board of Code Appeals. 2 openings. These are city council appointments, one to a term ending June 30, 2027, and one June 30, 2023. Is there anyone who'd like to make those appointments?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Yanez.
resolve to appoint Imad Potras to the Board of Code let me try this again. Resolve to appoint Imad Potras to the Board of Code Appeals alternate member to a term ending June 30th, 2027, subject to the appointee meeting the qualifications set forth in Charter 4.03 and taking the oath of office within 2 weeks.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any discussion?
No discussion.
No discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next is the other term ending June 30, 2023. Is there anyone who has an appointment there? If not, I will pass on that for the moment. Next up is the Community Alliance, 1 opening. This is a city council appointment to a term ending June 30th, 2025. Is there anyone who has an appointment to the Community Alliance?
Mayor Taylor.
Mrs. Schmidt.
Resolve to appoint Nicole Caruso to the Community Alliance to a term ending June 30th, 2025, subject to the appointee meeting the qualifications set forth in Charter 4.03 and taking the oath of office within 2 weeks.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any discussion, Mrs. Schmidt?
No.
Council? No discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Back to the 1 vacancy on the Board of Code Appeals. I'd entertain a motion to postpone that item to the January 17th, 2023 City Council meeting.
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved and supported with no discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And I believe that concludes that portion of our agenda. So we'll move on to communications from citizens. Is there anyone who'd like to speak on any item not on tonight's agenda? Come on up, sir.
Hi, my name is Tom Zatkowski. I live on Viceroy Street, and I've been a citizen of Sterling Heights since 1970 when we moved in. I'd like to bring some visibility to the issue of reckless driving and speeding vehicles on my street. It's Viceroy Drive between 14 and 15 mile roads. I sent an email to the city council and Chief Dvorakowski and got some responses from Mr. Yanez and from Lieutenant David Allen from the police department and Chief Dvorakowski, and I do appreciate that. If you read through the thing, you know all the stuff that's happened to me personally in the last 6 or 7 months. But about a year ago at Fillmore High School, or Fillmore Elementary School, I attended an open house that requested citizen input on various projects that could be completed using federal funds. I'd spoken with Michael Moore, the DPW director, about the possibility of putting in speed humps like those in Detroit. I followed up the conversation last spring with Mr. Moore and was told that the project is still being considered, but that it was transferred to the police department to contract out a study to determine how and where to implement the speed humps. It would take a year for the study to be completed, sent to the city council and administration to include the cost in a future budget. This would also take a lot of time, more than a year. And I also understand the issues with fire and emergency vehicles and snow plows in winter and the stiff suspensions on school buses that the speed humps would make a problem to. I thought about this for a long time, and I thought maybe some cheap and fast and appropriate things could help slow down the traffic there. I would like to request that we place a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit sign near 14 and 15 Mile Road, because there's no speed limit signs at all in that neighborhood. And it's totally residential. People ought to know that it's 25 miles an hour, but they don't pay attention to it. For reference, there's a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit at the entrance to the Hatherley sub, north of 15 Mile between Rhine and Mound. So as you're going into the sub, you get notified as 25, right? I'd also suggest to make the intersections at Terry and Viceroy and Sarah and Viceroy four-way stops. This would slow the traffic down, I think. There's already a stop sign on Terry that people have to stop before going across Viceroy. And I know they don't pay much attention because I almost broadsided some old lady driving a car, pardon me, the old lady. But she just ran the stop sign and I almost hit her. In Warren, just south of 14 Mile, because I go to church at St. Anne's on Mound Road there, there's a street called Greenbrier, and it's got two stop signs between 14 Mile and Arden. And it effectively slows the traffic down. So I'd like to propose that we make some stop signs in the subdivision there. And then also, my wife and I go to these art fairs, and we went to the City of Plymouth Art Fair this past year, and I noticed that in all the residential streets, they have slow 25-mile-an-hour signs painted on the streets. Okay, and I know you can't do that in the wintertime, but it would be nice to have signs painted in the streets. So people, as they're driving by, you know, they'll see that and understand that it's a residential area. And I'm not sure what you can do about the cost. I just heard somebody say that we have a little bit extra coming in. So maybe that could be earmarked for some of the inexpensive things that we have going here. I'm just asking the city to spend a little to protect the kids. They're coming off the bus. I've seen a bus driver stop. There's 3 or 4 bus stops for the school kids there. I've seen the bus driver stop, throw out his stop signs, turn the lights on, and honk the horns. And I've seen the kids coming off the bus and a guy coming the opposite direction, just blowing by him. He must have been doing 50, maybe 55, I don't know.
Yeah,
He was-
sir, sir, I can appreciate that. I take my daughter to the bus stop every morning. It's 7:20 in the morning, it's dark, and I can tell you the cars, they do not respect the bus with its stop sign out and everything. So unfortunately, that's all the time we have for you tonight. But we do have your email. I can promise you, we continue to work hard on the speeding issue. We know it's one of the main concerns, if not the main concern, that residents have regarding safety in the neighborhoods. We will continue to work on it. If you want to provide anything additional, I believe we have your contact information.
Okay.
And we can get a more detailed response to you about what we can do specifically on your street and get more information about what our strategy is citywide. Okay?
The police chief also said the same, that he's going to respond with more work to be done on our street.
Yep.
Thank you
Well,
very much.
We appreciate you bringing it to our
Appreciate your
attention.
time.
Thank you. Anyone else under communications from citizens? Yes, sir?
Good evening. My name is Mike Culp. I live on Gregory Street, south of 16 Mile Road between Van Dyke and Dodge Park. I've been in that subdivision for 26 years. South of 16 Mile Road is blacktop. That blacktop has been cold patched for the last 26 years. It's in the shape of what Mound Road used to be. I'm wondering what can be done on getting this repaired, replaced. In that subdivision, there's been multitude of streets, Wayne for one of them, that's been repaired, reconcreted 2 to 3 times. For what undue reason, I don't know. A lot of streets in that subdivision are in a lot better shape when they reconcreted them prior to this one. Who do I go to?
You're in the right spot.
Thank you. So let it be noted, we need to do something there. I mean, you know, granted, I drive an F-250, but my wife won't even get in the truck when I'm coming down Gregory anymore. So if we could do something, look into it. I'll take you for a ride down there. We'll all pile in the truck. You know, I have no issues with that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So, yeah, so a couple new folks here tonight. Appreciate you being here. We typically don't engage in back and forth during
Okay,
communications
that's
from
fine.
citizens. So that's why I wasn't trying to ignore you.
No. This is the first time here in 26 years, so
Well, welcome.
I don't know what the procedures are.
That's okay.
All righty.
You've handled yourself perfectly. So we've got the information. What I'll tell you just very briefly is that we do inventory every road in the city every year, and we prioritize them based on, the need.
I've
But
seen
we-
the prior,
I know,
I've seen
I know,
it, I've
I know.
seen it, and I've
I
been
know.
down those roads, and they're not
I
like
got
Gregory.
134,000 constituents that all have the worst road in Sterling Heights, and so we know it.
Okay.
Well, I'll talk with their city manager, we'll talk with the city engineer, we'll get somebody out there, we'll look at it. And if you want to leave your contact information with the clerk, we'll have somebody follow up with you and let you know what the plan is, okay?
All right, I thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else under communications from citizens? If not, I'll close that portion, go on to reports from city administration. Mr. Vanderpool, anything tonight?
Thank you, Mayor. Just briefly, I wanted to follow up on both of the traffic concerns. First, with respect to the speed hump study that we initially proposed, it was maybe a year and a half or so ago, we realized that we needed to pivot some from that study. It was very specific to speed humps. And while speed humps could be part of this solution, we realized that there's many other traffic calming measures that communities are deploying all over the country. And so we've broadened the scope of this study. It is much bigger than speed humps. We currently have a grant request pending for almost $1 million to do this citywide, massive traffic calming study. We hope to hear back very soon. So even if we don't have that grant, we have a couple of other ideas that we're working on for a more broad-based study. So there is more to come. In the interim, we're not ignoring a lot of these concerns and complaints, and we assure you we will be getting back to you on them with some ideas. With respect to Gregory, I'm hoping that it's on the list for next year, but we'll see. If it's not, we'll take a good look at it and see if there's some adjustments we can make and see what can be done to get some improvement on Gregory. Thank you very much, Mayor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Vanderpool. Mr. Koszewski?
Yes, Mayor, we do have one item tonight.
One item for closed session tonight. All right, very well. Council, any reports or new business tonight?
Mayor Taylor?
Mrs. Zarko?
Okay, first of all, before the gentleman leaves out there from Viceroy, is there a chance we can put speed monitors up there just temporarily to see if that might deter people from speeding?
Mr.
Through the chair to
Yeah,
Mr.
yes,
Vanderpool.
Mayor, Councilwoman Zarko, I believe that is part of the chief's plan to monitor the traffic, see exactly what the extent of the problem is, and then take appropriate measures.
Okay. And next is, you know what, we have not publicly thanked Mr. Koszewski and the firm for all of the work that they did for the MOU for Lakeside. I mean, we've done it privately, we've talked about it, but I think publicly we have to let the residents know that they went above and beyond to protect the city. And I know that we appreciate it. So I just wanted to publicly make that statement.
Just real quick, we show our appreciation to lawyers one way.
Oh.
Lawyers appreciate.
Oh, my gosh.
Happy New Year.
No, I'm just teasing.
Whoa.
Checked in clear, right?
Yeah. Clear.
Yeah, we'd have heard it if it didn't.
Yes, yes. I mean, but besides that,
Love you,
I mean, I'm sure we took care of that, but still. And the other thing is, you know, watching national TV last night, if anybody watched the football game, we know that, what the importance of CPR is to any individual at any time. And we've talked on numerous occasions that we wanted the Parks and Rec and fire departments to come together so that we could offer CPR classes throughout the, through the city. And I think we really need to look at that, in the upcoming schedule for our Parks and Rec programs. And also, if we can't do it on site, I know that there are places that will allow us to, they will let us use their facility in order to make that happen. So if we could work on that, I'd really appreciate it. And nothing further. Happy New Year.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Zarko. Council, anyone else?
Mayor Taylor?
Mrs. Sarowski.
Thank you very much. So I'd like to piggyback on Mrs. Ziarko's CPR thing really quickly, being a nurse and all. So through the chair to Mr. Vanderpool, are the employees also trained in CPR
Mr. Vanderpool.
or offered a CPR training?
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Pro Tem Sarowski, we have gone through training with our directors and managers, but it's been a number of years, and we do have a number of new individuals. So I think it'd be a good idea to reoffer, not only publicly, but to employees as well.
So I appreciate that, thank you, because I'm thinking of somebody who might be a judge who I know really well who does not know CPR, who should learn. So I just speaking off the cuff
Get
there.
Judge Lepore on it.
Yeah, get Judge Lepore on him. Poor girl, she'd never make it. Anyway, thank you. And with that, I also just wanted to wish our residents Happy New Year. It's a new year, it's a new day, it's time to start fresh. We all hear all those things, but at the very least, let's just all work on starting with a smile and enjoying who we are and just trying to be nice and kind to each other. And that's all I have. Thank you, Mayor Taylor.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Surowski. Anyone else?
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Radke.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just briefly, I think his name was Tom Setkowski. He just left, but I take his comments about Viceroy Drive very seriously. We do have a speeding a problem in this community, and I know we're all well aware of it. The issue is that most of the solutions he proposed will have absolutely no impact on speeding. Signs, stop signs, they do not change the idea that people are just going to continue to speed. And frankly, just putting up stop signs willy-nilly actually increases the chance of accidents and increases the chance of car crash. What we can do, though, is redesign our streets, which is why we're going through this study. You know, chicanes, creating a situation where we don't have straight streets, adding street trees, this will all slow speeding in Sterling Heights. It's proven to slow speeding in other communities. Study after study after study shows that these simple changes can lower the speed of people on the streets. What increases speeding is wide open streets, wide streets that people can see all the way down and treat like a raceway. So until we get serious about redesigning our streets for people and not cars, this speeding problem will just reoccur, and we'll send the police over there to do a little bit of enforcement, and within a month, it'll be right back to where it was before. Only through redesigning and changing our streets will we slow speeding. And with that, I wish everyone a very happy new year. I guess I have one more thought. I recently saw that there's a rezoning board right in front of the bank at 15 Mile and Dodge Park in our mixed-use node to create a drive-through for I think it's a chicken restaurant. Savvy Sliders, whatever it is. And I guess my concern is it's part of our mixed-use node. If we're going to get serious about our mixed-use nodes, we need to ban new drive-throughs in our mixed-use nodes. They will never become pedestrian-friendly if we allow car-based businesses to take up residence in them. This is just one more example of recent events where car-based businesses are operating in what we have designated as mixed-use areas. Once it's in there, it'll be there for 10, 15, 20 years, and it creates a broken pattern where we'll never have pedestrian access. So if this council is going to get serious about trying to build out the mixed-use nodes, we need to tell developers what we expect them to put in there. And one thing they should not be allowed to put in there is drive-throughs. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Radke.
Mayor Taylor?
Mrs. Schmidt.
Thank you. Just briefly, I'll piggyback on my colleagues. As far as the speed trailer that Mrs. Yarko had mentioned, in my neighborhood, probably 2 months ago, they actually connected a solar sign onto a present sign in the neighborhood that told you how fast you were going. Instead of the big bulky trailer in the street, it was attached to a sign in the neighborhood. It was really effective for me, and I think it really does help. Maybe we can, like, semi-permanently put one on Viceroy for a while until we find a solution there. I'm not sure what the cost of those are, but it has to be cheaper than the trailer, and it's solar-powered. So, Mr. Vanderpool, maybe that's just a suggestion for you there. And there was something else I was going to say, but I can't remember. So Happy New Year to everyone. And 2023 is going to be a good year.
Go Lions.
Yeah, we won't mention that New Year's Eve game.
I wasn't going to bring it up.
I know. Yeah, I bet you were.
Go green.
Go white. Mr. Yanis. You know what, real quick, that was a touchdown, okay?
It was a touchdown.
Thank you, thank you.
And I don't like Michigan at all. but
Thank you.
I gotta give.
We'll go with that too.
And then that guy hits the quarterback. It was like, what a ridiculous call.
Thank you, Mayor.
Total targeting, right?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just FYI, Tom is still out there. Mr. Zykowski is also one of our commissioners. He sits on the Housing Commission.
Tremendous.
For Shaner Towers. And he's been doing that for a long time, so I just want to recognize that. I did talk with him prior to the meeting, and we did talk about some of these alternatives, and and there is a sort of an erstwhile chicane on Viceroy, and he told me a story about a lady who blew by another car, I think it was his car, and just went right through and over the curb. I mean, the chicane didn't really matter. There's going to be some people that just, no matter what we do, it's not going to matter, but whatever we can do, we should do the most efficient thing possible. I also want to note that Tom runs our senior golf league, so his old lady comment is noted, and I think we should open up our DEI training to our commissioners as well. So that's a joke, Tom. Just before our last meeting in December, I was going to bring this up. Oh, let me say one more thing with the speeding thing. We did see, there is a company that does the radar signs. We saw them at the MML conference, and I think that's probably something that we're looking at, through the chair to Mr. Vanderpool. Is it an option?
Thank you, Mayor. Councilman Yanez, yes, we're looking at acquiring more of them. We already have some of them now, but we want to make sure we've headed down this path that our future acquisitions are fully integrated with what we have now. So we don't want to switch companies right now. The ones we have work very well, but we are planning to purchase more.
Yeah, so these are permanent as opposed to the temporary ones that we have where they got to drag them out and set them up or strap them to a tree or what have you. I think most speeders, and I use myself as an example, you don't realize you're speeding until you see a sign, and then all of a sudden you catch yourself and you slow down a little bit. I think that's the majority of our speeders. And I would like to see more police presence around our schools at drop-off and pickup times, because there's a lot of angry drivers when it comes to dropping their kids off and picking them up yeah. But I do want to, so before our last meeting in December, I was going to bring this up and I didn't. But I want to note that our own Ayanna Yet, who chairs this steering committee for the African American Coalition, graduated in December from Wayne State University with not one but two master's degrees in social work and infant mental health, infant mental health, and a degree in infant mental health. And not only did she graduate with two master's degrees, but she was also the commencement speaker, which also included the Wayne State School of Social Work, the Mike Ilitch School of Business, and the College of Nursing. So hats off to Ayanna. She does a great job for us on the coalition, and she's one of our real bright stars here in Sterling Heights. I want to make sure she was properly acknowledged. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you.
Other than go Lions.
Yeah, go Lions.
And I do want to point out.
You gotta be fast, Mrs. Koski.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Koski. I do want to point out, I am taking personally the hit on the Lions' loss to Carolina. I forgot to wear my Lucky Lions t-shirt that day and did not realize it.
So it's your fault.
Until after the game. Yeah, so I'm going to take the hit. I did wear it Sunday. And I'm going to be wearing it Sunday night. It's already in the laundry, washed and folded, ready to go.
You can't wash it. Oh, you wash it.
No, you gotta wash it. No, I gotta wash it. There's a lot of food. There's a lot of food on the front. I gotta wash it. Gotta wash it. And that's now all I have, Mr. Mayor.
I didn't either, and I wear the same hoodie and t-shirt every Sunday, and I didn't that day. But that hoodie and t-shirt started the season 1 and 6. So,
That's what my t-shirt, whatever.
Mrs. Koski.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I also would like to wish everyone a happy, prosperous new year. And comment on Viceroy. I lived in the south end of the city for over 30 years, and Viceroy has always been a problem. Listening to Mr. Radke's suggestion, maybe some reconfiguration of the road might be a possibility. I know when Hall Road was being built, we had to close off a couple streets there because people were cutting through. And that solved the issue for a while. And and maybe what Viceroy needs is at the half-mile point, maybe we need to make those dead-end streets and kind of redirect the traffic. Because if you look over on 18 Mile Road, the subdivision to the south of that has dead-end streets where they are not leading out onto 18 Mile Road. And I'm sure that is to control some of the traffic that was coming into the subdivisions. So I don't know where your idea came from, Mr. Radke, but if you have any information, I would strongly suggest that you pass it on to administration. And maybe that's something that we could look at and see if there's some way that we could readjust Viceroy. Now, Viceroy's like 50 years old plus. So I don't know what could be done, but maybe some closing of the half-mile section and redirecting traffic there might work. One other request I have, with the appointments to boards and commissions, I like to look at two things. One is their application, two is their voting record. It seems like recently I've had a little difficulty finding applications. And I'm sure that they're there, but for whatever reason, sometimes they don't get into the council packet. When I say council packet, I'm talking to the application lists that were provided with all the names and all the applications that we have. It's just a matter of, I'd like to see who they are, what their interests are, a little information about them. I also believe that the requirement for boards and commissions is that you're a registered voter. If you're a registered voter, I would expect you to exercise your right to vote. Because it's the old saying that I was taught, if you don't lose it, you're going to lose it. So if you're going to volunteer for your city, take part in the decisions that you as a voter has the right to make. So I would like to see their voting records. I would like to see their attendance if they're asking for reappointments. And I'd like to see their applications. I know we have a new system. We've been working on it, doing a great job on it, but I think we need a little improvement. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mrs. Koski. Thank you, council. I don't have anything to add except for to say welcome back. Happy New Year to everybody. Thank you for participating in this meeting tonight. We are going to adjourn into closed session. We will be returning likely, but we don't know how long. If you want to stay and wait, stick around. If not, you can watch us on TV. So I will entertain a motion to adjourn into closed session.
So moved.
Support. Been moved and supported.
Twice.
Ms. Riska, can we have a roll call vote?
Mrs. Yargo?
Yes.
Mrs. Koski?
Yes.
Mr. Radke?
Yes.
Mrs. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Roski?
Yes.
Mayor Taylor?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries 7-0. We will adjourn this meeting into closed session. We likely will be returning. This meeting back to order. Mrs. Schmidt.
Thank you, Mayor Taylor. Resolved to authorize the city attorney to pursue all available remedies to abate the nuisance conditions and code violations existing at 15032 Rohan Drive.
Support. It's been moved and supported. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Mrs. Schmidt.
Resolved to authorize the city attorney to pursue all available remedies to abate the nuisance conditions and code violations existing at 5018 North Lawn.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support. It's been moved and supported. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.